came to Bouchercon and what your memories of that were.
Well, the first Bouchercon was probably mid-'70s in Chicago. Don't remember the exact year, but I'm sure you could get on the internet and figure it out. I had two books that had been published in 1973, and the thing I remember most vividly is a young guy named Bob Randisi almost immediately cornered me and was a fan of the two books that I published. Now, at that time, I'd never met anybody who wasn't a family member or from my hometown who were even aware that I'd written books. So this was someone who had actually read my books, and we made a fast friendship, and he was already publishing some. He had some short stories published, and we talked into the night. I don't remember any panels. I assume there were. I remember a huge dealer's room, because there used to be a lot more dealers. And I met a number of other mystery writers. The other thing that really sticks with me is meeting Walter Gibson, who was already legendary for his shadow and for his magic and all that kind of stuff. I also had a bit of altercation would be too strong, but there was a well-known writer who I probably should not mention by name, who was bad-mouthing Mickey Spillane, and that did not go well. And he was particularly complaining that Mickey Spillane posed with guns on his books, book jackets, and I pointed out that Ian Fleming also did that. And, as I say, it did not go well. So some vivid memories about that first Bouchercon.
Now, even though that didn't go well, was that a pleasant memory when you look back at it today because you stuck up for that?
Yeah, I had some people actually kind of pat me on the back after that and say, thanks for doing that, because, Mickey still remains weirdly controversial, but the farther back you go, the more controversial he is, because there were a lot of mystery writers who really resented him, and I never really understood that, and to a degree I still don't, because these kind of writers that come along, writers like Mickey or writers like Robert B. Parker and Stephen King, of course, and in a related field, these writers energize the field. They widen the market. They create markets. With Stephen King, when he published Carrie, there wasn't a horror section.
Right.
There's a horror section in bookstores because of Stephen King. So these people, whether you like their work or not, you owe a debt to. I mean, I'm not a big Robert B. Parker fan, but I know that he paved the way for me to be able to publish private eye novels. So I think some respect must be paid.
From a standpoint of past people that you attended Bouchercons with, is there a favorite ghost of Bouchercon for you? Someone who came years and years ago that is no longer with us that you'd like to pay tribute to?
It was always great to see Ed Hogue and his wife. They were just a pleasant, benevolent presence. Smiles, kind words for everybody, and he was really. He remains a giant in the mystery field, and the idea that he did it writing fundamentally short stories is also pretty impressive.
What has coming to Bouchercon meant to you over the years? How do you think it's affected, if at all, your career?
Well, Bouchercon has been very positive for me because I've always done pretty well here. I get to do panels, and as you can see, I'm not really afraid to express myself. And so when people, people like a panel that you're on and like you on the panel, they will go in and buy the books. As we record this, my wife and I were on a panel yesterday, and when we went to do our signing afterwards, one of the dealers who had our then or now latest book, Antique Swap, essentially sold out. So those people rushed in to the book room to buy that book to get us to sign it. So that's immediate gratification. The fact that these people may be from Dallas and Pittsburgh and, you know, Seattle, and that they're all over the place. They're like little seeds that grow and blossom. And that's what I really, really like about Bouchercon. In addition to getting to see some of the familiar faces of people that always come, when you go into a region like we're in Raleigh, as I'm speaking, I haven't signed in the South in a long, long time, and so you get to see people that you normally don't. And so, because I don't do a lot of conventions, I don't do sort of the convention circuit, this is important because I can come here and it just spreads throughout the country.
If you had to pick a single, other than sticking up for Mickey Spillane, a single favorite Bouchercon moment, do you have one that you'd like to talk about?
Well, my favorite Bouchercon moment is the entire Milwaukee, I think it's 1981 when I was the guest of honor. Because when you're the guest of honor, you know, it's good to be king. It's good to be king. And, you know, we had a suite with, I think we had a jacuzzi, and, you know, so Barbara and I had a wonderful, wonderful time there.
Was it filled with beer?
It was not. It was not filled with beer. But the other, and interestingly, the other memorable Milwaukee Bouchercon, and this would have been, I may have misremembered that. I think 81 was when I met Mickey Spillane, and then I think they may have had me as guest of honor in the 90s. I think I just mixed that up a little bit. So there's two really vivid memories for me with the Milwaukee cons, because in the one I got to, you know, be the guest of honor in a one-on-one interview with my band entertained. It was just fantastic. But the other time was when they came to me, the organizers came to me and said, would you be the liaison between us and our special guest, Mickey Spillane? And Mickey got brought in because it was Milwaukee, because he was doing the Miller beer commercials at that time. And so they arranged for Miller Lite to bring Mickey in. And I'd been writing about Mickey and defending Mickey for all these years. And when they asked me to be the liaison between the convention and Mickey, and to interview him one-on-one, it was just thrilling. And then he and I hit it off immediately. So that was, you know, if I can, I'll tell the story. I've told it a lot, but over the years, I had written him dozens and dozens of fan letters from when I was 13 or 14 years old. And when I published my first two books in 1973, I sent him copies. And he finally wrote me back. He wrote me a lovely, long letter, basically welcomed me to the writing community. And then I wrote him periodically after that, never heard back. So when we went to his hotel room, knocked at the door, and he came to the door, the representative of the convention said, Mickey, this is Max Collins. And Mickey said, oh, I know Max. We've been corresponding for years. And I said, that's right, Mickey. 100 letters from me, 1 letter from you. And at that moment, we were fast friends. And then within a month, I was down in South Carolina visiting him, and that relationship led to many projects we did together, and eventually led to him turning over his files to me upon his death to complete any unfinished projects. And I've been doing that now for almost 10 years.
Any last message you'd like to give to present or future Bouchercon people, attendees?
I always think it's worth it to come to Bouchercon. You make friends here, and they may be friends that your friendship basically consists of pausing in a hallway and sharing a few words and then smiling at each other and moving on. But it's a very rewarding experience for authors, like fans too, I guess. It's just a rare opportunity. You know, authors work almost in, you know, kind of a monk-like existence. You know, they always kind of talk about the lonely life of the author, but it's true. You're in an office, home office usually, and you're bouncing ideas onto the page, and you sometimes feel like when you send a book in that they drop it down a well and you don't even hear the splash, and you just go on about your business. when you come here and people talk to you about the books that they like, and now I'm getting to the age where I'll have somebody come up and say, "Oh, I have a friend who says he went into the writing game because of you, because you inspired him." You can't pay for anything that good. And the fans get to talk to the authors and get to get the book signed. People love. I don't even know how they get them cross country. The amount of books you see, people hauling, baskets of books around, and it's very rewarding.